This daf Yerushalmi Shekalim. The article Oz edition. We're on daf Chav Daled Amud Aleph. We're up to Shlomo Shloishton, which is the fourth line down. The last word in line is Shamu in the Vilna Yerushalmi. That should be right at the beginning of Daled Amud Beis. And in the Vilna Bavli Yerushalmi, it's on Tes Amud Beis. It's a little bit difficult to find. If you look at where in the left-hand margin it says Mishnah Aleph in the Rivavan. Actually, then you look Mishnah where it says Mishnah Aleph in the Rivavan. Then you look opposite that in the Gemara. There's a little Aleph, 4 lines down from that, between Shlomo Shloishton and Chayzer V'Shoikel. So we're up to that Shlomo Shloishton before the little Aleph. So you finished all 3 kupos, right? You went from the first to the second to the third, and then back to the second, and back to the first. You finished all 3 kupos. Again, we're not going to the Rambam shot, which you can see in the Ritbaz and elsewhere, the article, but with the conventional shot, we're talking about the Chumas Lishka of that, of the one of the 3 Chumas Lishkas of the year. So now you have to take more money. That's it. We're assuming there's no money left in the lishka, and you can't take from shirayim. I shouldn't say there's no money left in the lishka. The kupos. There's no money left in the kupos, so you can't take from shirayim in the lishka because the you can't take from shirayim. That's why there's no to meila by the shirayim because they are shirayim. They can be used for bedek habayis, for the chomos ear, ketzah mizbeach, but they can't be used anymore for the korbanos tzibur. Karmas Chova of the Seymour. So once you use those baskets, you can't take from the Shaim anymore. So what do? You have to get and do Shkolim. The Chadatin does clarify this. He says, well, not quite. It says Shoikel Tag Chadatin. Moving, the extended amount of korbanos, and they used all of the 3 baskets before they can get to the next parak. So they didn't want to take from the shiraim, and they didn't want to take from the next batch. They need the next batch for the next for the next third. And either there weren't any for the next batch, they didn't want to take. It's not clear from the Chadatin, but in any event, so they need to take new shkolim. They need to make a new special appeal to get shkolim. Reb Chaim though learns that it's talking about after the 3rd Shumas Alishka of the year, the final Shumas Alishka. There's no more shkolim left to take until the Rosh Chodesh Nisan. So therefore, that's why they have to make a new special appeal. So, but where there, it was the first and it was still the second. They go to the second. Second still third. Go to the third. It's after the third period in the year, and there's no more left. Right? There's pros. After pros Chag, there's pros Pesach, pros Chatzeres, pros Chag. There's after pros Chag, and that's it. So they need to make a new appeal. But of course, both you still don't take from the Shirayim, except that Rameir says no, you can't go back to the Shirayim, and because he holds that you can take the korbanos from the Shirayim, and therefore Rameir, as we had earlier in the Masechta, only be Shirayim, but there is milah by the Shirayim. Shemitz Torchlu Lahem. Maybe you will need them at the end. Okay, now we have the famous brisa of Rabbi Pinchas Ber, which is several times above in Yerushalmi in different contexts. Not in all manuscripts here does it appear, but does appear in the printed edition. So certainly we're going to learn it. And of course, it appears in various different forms of the order of what maybe they what. And the article has a long discussion here of the Shorim's order, which the Gemara here is not precisely the same order, and if you want, you can see that on Chav Daled Amud Beis in the article in the Chuvik. So it's a Biurim. But we're going to go here with, I think we're going to go Kaseda with the Takin Chadatin. Takin Chadatin, I should not mention this in the Masechta, but Takin Chadatin is going to be Slow of Shklov, the author of the Pasuk Shulchan, one of the premier Talmidim of the Gra, and therefore I think it's appropriate for us to see the Gra, Talmud Rabbi Yisrael Shklov, was tremendous going in his own right, of course, as the Pasuk Shulchan, and the Takin Chadatin indicate how he learns of Jai Bryce and Pinchas Menorah. So we're going to go with we're going to go through the Takin Chadatin inside. Which is both in the article and in the Bavli, the Bavli Yerushalmi. Pinchas ben Yair Omer. So the Pinchas Yair said. So the says Kentucky Chatin. Pinchas Omer Zizrizus. I did the army b'shlosha prokim. Since we're talking about the 3 times a year, v'storchlios naki. Mebrios, you have to be clean in the eyes of human beings. Kol midei shemaim. Storchlios zoris, and you have to be diligent. K'moshe b'esed Gamliel. Shalem Sheyesham Tchil, who made sure that their machzor shall be first. V'arish kulam midos and Pinchas ben Yair. It's talking about all these good midos, right? The 3 prokim and how we're meticulous about that, and how you have to be nokim brios and be zoris. Okay, it's time to learn some Musa. Okay, so it says Pinchas ben Yair. Pinchas ben Yair omed zrizus mivei the kius. Zrizus says who have a atzlus. That's the opposite of laziness. Right? They shall chuz midas zrizus by being involved in the midah of zrizus. Mivei also idei nekius. It brings it in nekius. Both in the respect the nekiah mi brios, that you are clean of in the eyes of creatures. Amina b'shmaitin, we said in our sugya, k'shureis rizuso b'davar, when they see he's diligent in what he's doing, b'shleim was perfectly l'chshlu, is going to be naki, right? They're not going to suspect him. Ve'im b'dei shamayim, an interesting the idea also b'dei shamayim. Who starts the mitzvah when he is diligent mitzvah mizarezes mulubenes mizuzay maves and mulubenes mizuzay maves. The mitzvah itself is clean, and that it is meticulous and cleansed of the zuzay maves, the flies of death, which of course are the potential pitfalls in doing mitzvah inappropriately. Interesting, the connection. They say you assume he's certainly the tshuva, but there's rizuso nakmi achay because of his rizus. So he does things diligently, he's going to be pure of sin. So that's the reason they accuse. The kius me the tara. The kius means the tara. Says the chatin tara goof. Interestingly, the tara of the body with tefillah. Toshe nakmi mishim ruchlu chatzitza. It to be clean. In order there to be no chatzitza, no barriers. Below the Torah, then you're not Torah, wouldn't be Torah. So too, spiritually, by cleansing the body from the dust of the sin, by the taras haneshama, you come to the purity of the soul. Ain't Torah rak clean naki. It's only Torah if it's in a clean naki, in a Torah vessel. Nefesh tzadik naki b'tzadik, such as the soul which is clean and righteous. Then we have Tara Mevila de Kedusha. Tara brings the holiness. He says here, just when you kachim, which is done on the level of Kodesh, the Kodesh, and go to the base of Mikdash, HaKodesh Tara, only thing requires Tara. Everybody goes into the Azar, requires Tefillah. Inamik the Ram Brachas, there's a Brachas, good getter, Godel, Godju Ba. There was they made a great getter to require Tefillah, after having relations. A certain person wanted to have illicit relations with a woman. She said to him, how can you have relations with me? You have 40 so go mikveh. After you have illicit relations with me? Pirish. They didn't do it. They said, Kedusha, precious min arayos. There's Kedusha, so it's precious min arayos. So a person is meticulous on Torah, he's not going to get involved in preachers. He's going to be punished on riots. So the pursuit of Torah will help a person to upkeep his kedusha. And one of the things the Tesis Yonatan points out in Soita, one of the things that's missing here from the different versions is that in the different versions you have that Nikias brings the precious, and precious mevila de Torah. And here the way the Takachati is doing it, it's the other way around, kind of. It's the case of the Tara, which then in and of itself brings to Precious. In other words, Tara and Precious are connected. So, but if he's not mentioned explicitly regardless, but the way he's saying is that if a person is Torah, it's going to bring him the day Precious. Okay, in any event, I saw that the Tesis Yonatan in the end of Saita, for Yerushalmi references him, brings down that he says that Precious is included in Tara. That's because and that's what really the Takachad is also alluding to, right? That the Kedusha, well, in Kedusha, I'm sorry. It's in Kedusha, Prishim and Arayas. Okay, so therefore it's not to be specified explicitly here. Kedusha may be they are Nova. Kedusha brings a person to a Nova. Says Takachatin, Aidei Sholach Miskadesh, because the person going to sanctify himself. Bedarke Kedusha, Kedusha, they have Hashem telling me like the holy people always stand before Kosh Baruch Hu, Mevin Gedulas Hashem Yisbarach. He understands the grace of Hashem, for Rav and Rov Norosav and his great awesomeness, great awesome aspects. Nasa Shapov and Yivzeh Beinov becomes degraded and low in his eyes. Because he never said about Kosh Baruch Hu according to Kosh Baruch Hu's, so to speak, value. Also, the Kedushas come by separating from women. Some of them are take pride in, I guess the women take pride in superficialities. Not, of course, women are Yerushalmi, but there were women like that. And so by separating yourself from them and their concentration on superficialities, you come to Anova. Anova brings the person to fear of sin. Says, by his humility, he's degrading his own eyes and is going to be disgusted. He's afraid and trembles. And somebody who's so low and degraded like himself, should sin from Kosh Baruch Hu is holy and awesome. The more he's low in his eyes, in inverse proportion, the Kavod Shamayim is great in his eyes. You know how much the sin damages in all the worlds. David Melech, you saw the Anav Gadol. David Melech, who was considered a great Anav. It's like commercial Amar, like I said, Banochi to Laslo Ish. I'm like a worm, like a person. Amar, he said, Eshmod Hakim Chato. That saves you from sinning. And so if somebody actually does stumble and does something wrong, so that of itself will make him give him another and humiliate and humble him, and he'll be afraid to sin again. His sin will always be opposite him, to be careful in the future. Maybe the Chasidus. Yitzchak brings the Chasidus, says the Takachatin Chasidus who darga ilah. It's a high madrega, lifnim shesdin, above and beyond letter of the law, which goes to Gemara, like Gemara says in Trumas. V'lo mishnas Chasidim, v'chulei, it's a quote, from it says, Kol shiyosu kodemes al chachmosa, anybody whose year comes before his chachma, chachmosa mischayemes. His chachma is sustained because his year comes before his chachma. From it says, V'lo amaretz chasid, a person who's ignorant cannot be a chasid. By day you're aschet, but by being fearful of sin, shu otzar ha-chachma. That is because Chazal say you need yiras chet is in order to maintain your chachma. Like one on Shabbos, I think it's Lamed or Lamed Alf, right? You need to have the container of yiras chet in order to be a chacham. That's the otza which holds the chachma. So, since you have yiras chet, you'll be a chacham, and since you'll be a chacham, you'll come to the day lifnei mishras adin. Chedeshu yirei chet also by being yirei chet oseh gedolim. You make boundaries. I mean, lech amin the zero schar. Without nazir go around, go distance yourself. That goes beyond the letter of the law. The ikra chasidus says the primary chasidus is to lace by yesh b'nei adam mila yishmaya, not be embarrassed by other people when you come to Ratzon Hashem. Which cause of bereish brachas. A pasuk shmar nafshi when the Melech says, "Preserve my soul ki chasidani lo chasidi." I'm not a chasid v'chulei v'lo boshti. I'm not embarrassed. But so then when you go up to this high level, do everything which is incumbent upon you. What you're capable of attaining, and everything else, Hashem bezro. Hashem will be in and help him out. And that's going to bring us to the next level. Chassidus Medilei Ruach HaKodesh. Because the person who goes lifnei mishras adin, goes above and beyond, he merits being Kodesh Baruch Hu, a ruach from above and beyond. Ruach HaKodesh. From Yerushalmi Sukkah, it says in Yerushalmi, end of Sukkah, very famous Yerushalmi, Simchas Beis Shoeva. Why was the Simchas Beis Shoeva called Simchas Beis Shoeva? Shayu Shoavim Ruach HaKodesh, because they would draw Ruach HaKodesh from there. Shami Chasim Anshe Meiser. The people who did the dancing and the great simcha were the people of the Chasidim and Anshe Meiser. By Desha Smechim Maasehim, and by rejoicing in their accomplishments. And Shechina is not involved other than out of simcha. Moshe Rabbi David, like David said, by David HaMelech, by Elisha was the Menaged of the Zeshkasu Odi Barta Chazon. Then you spoke with the vision. And then the Ruach HaKodesh revealed the Tchias HaMesim. Kodesh brings the Tchias HaMesim, says the Tachichatin, Aidei Shetizakachu Aruchos, by refining the spirits. V'yora love Ruach Aleim Ruach Mimorim. I'm sorry, yeah, right. Aidei Shezakachu Ruchos, Aleim Ruach Mimorim, Ruach Kedusha V'Tara, by the Ruachos of human beings who are alive becoming purified and having Kedusha Tara, Azir Ruchos HaMesim. This was a fascinating thing. This will also rouse the Mason. The name Hashem Bohem, Kodesh Baruch Hu gives them also ruach. In other words, the ruach comes down. It doesn't just come to the live people. It comes to dead people too. The ruach HaKodesh, which comes as a result of Chasidus Lifnei Mishura Sadin. So there's the ruach comes down and resurrects the Mason. V'yichyu. The name Hashem Bohem Yichyu, they're going to arouse the Ruchas HaMesim, they're going to be brought back to life. It says in 6 Psachim, Atim Tzadikim Shechayus HaMesim. Tzadikim only be Mechayim Mesim, like Elio and Elisha. And this Tchias HaMesim comes about as a result of the Ruach HaKodesh which they have, which then allows them to bestow this Ruach HaKodesh on the Mesim. Tchias HaMesim means Elio Zochar Toiv. And Tchias HaMesim means Elio HaNavi. And this is not explained in the Tachlis Chadatin. He doesn't actually discuss that. The Korban kind of glosses over it. It says okay, it says it comes to Elio, but the way he learns it means, well, no, not it happens at the same time, kind of. But Elio actually, according to this, comes first. The article brings down from the Ran Abu Yisrael that the ultimate Tchias HaMesim we know comes for the Yom HaDin HaGadol Vanora. This is also true according to the Rambam. And so therefore that comes, according to Baz, who says that the Tchias HaMesim, I think the Ritva also says, but the Tchias HaMesim beginning Moshe Mashiach is limited. And the main Tchias HaMesim is for the Yom HaDin HaGadol Vanora, and of course, according to Gubolim, in Olam Haba Mamish. According to Rambam, the main Tchias HaMesim is for the Yom HaDin HaGadol Vanora. According to other Gubolim, it's for the Olam Haba. But in any event, all those Tchias HaMesim are seem to be after Elio HaNavi. So the article says that actually he's saying it's carbon 8. I thought it's saying differently, but no, he's saying that the Elio for Tchias HaMesim. So Tchias HaMesim means that Elio. But what I was trying to say is that there's the first limited Tchias HaMesim of the Radbaz, and then there's the Elio HaNavi comes. Because the sheet that's Ram is that perhaps people aware the sheet Ram is Elio HaNavi comes after Mashiach, and this word seems to be a raya to the Rambam. And then the after the first Tchias HaMesim Elio comes, and then later either Elio Madina, Gadol Vanora, or Olam Haba. That's when the other Tchias HaMesim occurs. But the initial Tchias HaMesim occurs before Bias Elio. That's what it seems. Arkmar seems to go like that. And now the Gemara brings up Sukkim to prove all these things. And again, the other says whether we preach not brought down here, so there's no pasuk explicitly about preachers like we have here about the other things. This is mevila de nekius tichsi v'chila mikaper. So the first v'chila, which means to finish one's work in the Beis Hamikdash and the Kohanim Zrizim, and they do things with Zrizos, and then you achieve then your kapara. Kapara means being cleansed. Nikis v'etara d'chsev v'chiper la'kohen v'tohera. First kapara, the cleansing, and then tara. Tara v'vdei kedusha d'chsev v'tiaro v'kidsho. There's tara and kedusha. Kedusha v'direi nova. So Krishna d'chsev kol mar Hashem Rama Nisa. So Kodesh Baruch Hu is lofty and high. Shochen ad, who dwells in eternity. Because Shema is the name is holy. So Marom v'kadosh eshkon. I will dwell in high in holiness. That's HaKosh Ruach. And then the next level is with those who are oppressed and low of spirit. So the Kedusha brings to another. Another day, the Chesiv, it says, Ekev Anova Yiras Hashem. As result of Anova, one comes to Yiras Hashem. Yiras Chet Mevil Yidei Chasidus. Yiras Chet brings a person to Chasidus. So Steve, the Chesed Hashem B'Olam B'Olam Ayrev. So okay, really the pasuk seems to indicate the opposite, but the Chesed comes to the Yereim. But in the order of pasuk, in the sequence, first you have Chesed Hashem, and then actually, no, that is actually what it's saying. Yiras Chet Mevil Yidei Chasidus. Chesed Hashem B'Olam B'Olam Ayrev. Right, people are Yereim, and then they get the Chesed Hashem. So Yiras Chet isn't via the Chasidus. Okay, no, that's correct. Right. Chasidus via the Ruach Kodesh. Chasidus brings the person to Ruach Kodesh. The Chesiv, it says, "As the Barta b'Chazon Avda Chasidecha." You spoke to in a vision to your Chasidim. Ruach Kodesh via the Tchias Hamesim. Ruach Kodesh brings the Tchias Hamesim. The Chesiv, Nasati Ruchi Bachem Michi Yisem. I'm going to give my spirit within you, and you're going to come to life. It says, so again, according to Korban Eidah, article, okay, says there's a linkage, even though Elio comes before. But according to the Radbaz, I think it's Radbaz, I would have to look it up to tell you for sure, but I think it's Radbaz that says that the Tchias HaMesim occurs, and then Elio comes, and then you have the greater Tchias HaMesim at the end of time. I see that the Talmud Chadatin later on, not in the same over here on the when you get to the pasuk, not before in the Bryce, it does say Lidelio Zachatov Dichsibi Neanochi Sholech Lochem Israel Lifnei Bo Yom Hagadol. He says Hu Achar Tchia Yom Hadin Hagadol. So he says not simultaneously. Says that the after Tchias HaMesim comes Yom Hadin HaGadol. B'koyim Yom HaGadol Yishachu L'Shiv Leiv of Asabarim. So between Tchias HaMesim and Yom Hadin HaGadol V'Neira, Elio comes and he gets everybody to do Chuvas. You're all B'Zayich B'Din B'Ezras Hashem Yisbarach, right? Since HaKadosh Baruch Hu sends Elio to bring everybody back, even ones HaKadosh Baruch Hu's Mechayim Mesim, who might have died, Rachman Litzlan Rishoyim. No, HaKadosh Baruch Hu sends Elio Novi after the Tchias HaMesim, Heishi Leiv of Asabarim. And all the avos who went off, the bottom went off, he'll bring them all back, and then everybody can be zoich within Yom Hadin HaGadol V'Noira. I mean, Kenny Rotzai. Not finished the parak yet. Not finished the Yom. So now a very famous drasha, the Yerushalmi says, Tan M'Sher Meir. Komish Kavua Beretz Yisrael. Now he says mentions four things here. Kavua Beretz Yisrael, Medaber L'Shakosh, Ochel Beretz Taro, Kor Kriyash Mabuk Berev. So I'm not going to get into Talmud Chadatin's whole drasha here, but he says these four things correspond to the four parts of the Guf Adam, Guf, Nefesh, Ruach, Neshama, and they correspond to the four aspects of phenomena in this world: Dome, Tzameh, Chai, Medaber, inanimate, vegetative, alive, and human beings who speak, and also correspond to Eish, Mayim, Ruach, and Ofar, to the four elements in the Greek science: fire, water, wind, and dirt. And of course, he explains in great detail. But we'll just take a look at the four things without going into those correspondences. But just want to make you aware that he does have them. Which are times Shemir Komish Kavua Beretz Yisrael. Maybe Said Yom had died in Asia Minor, and I don't know if he said this was in Chutz La'aretz or still was in Eretz Yisrael, but it's very poignant to be saying well it's already in Chutz La'aretz. Komish Kavua Beretz Yisrael. Anybody who's permanently in Eretz Yisrael, Kavua Beretz Yisrael. We visit Eretz Yisrael, Baruch Hashem, but it's not the same thing as being Kavua there. Umedaber L'Shel Kodesh. He speaks in Hebrew. Which of course, the Talmud Chadatin says has intrinsic holiness. Famous Rambam who says that L'Shel Kodesh because it has no words for bodily functions and reproduction and no curse words. Those are all borrowed terminology in Hebrew. But the Rambam could be that was why it's called L'Shel Kodesh. But of course, it has intrinsic kedusha, being the language which Kodesh Baruch created. Shamayim Ba'aretz. So he sees L'Shel Kodesh Oichel Peirosa B'Tara, eats his fruit with Tara, and he's meticulous in his eating, that he eats everything with Kedusha with Tara. And because Shema Bokav, he expresses his Yichud Hashem by reading Shema properly from morning and night. Yemavusar Sheben Olam Habo. He should be know that he is he should, he has the Mabusa the news Kormei has and said Muftach Lo Sheben Olam Habo. I think it's the same idea as Muftach Muvusar. This Tikkun B'Shlemus, he is a Ben Olam Haba. I just see at the end of the Pnei Moshe in the parak, and he also says like I'm not sure the Pnei Moshe is here. Is it? No, the Pnei Moshe does not appear in this Masechta on this. It must be copied from Shabbos here. But he does say that no, never mind. He actually does not say what I said. Okay, so in any event, we'll stop here for today. End of the parak. Hazov Shlosh Brakim and the Amr. It's a good place to stop.